Hello, hello. I'm Strider, your host here at Author in the Headlights, and I want to thank you for joining us today. And for those of you that haven't, if you just go down there and hit that subscribe button, you won't miss a single episode. And we do have fun here. I think anyone that listens will have to agree with that. And this morning, I've got a dear friend, Pamela Beason. We've known each other for several years and kind of keep track. We met at the Chanticleer International Book Awards, and she has a pile of books, I think like 4 or 5 different series of multiples. And good morning, Pam.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Now, let's get into your stories because you write mysteries mostly, although
Mhm.
they're not mysteries like most people think of mysteries. You've got the Sam Weston series, the Neema Mysteries. I don't know. You got the Langston family stories, Run
Mhm.
for Your Life trilogy, and
Mhm.
a single or two out there. What got you started in writing?
Oh, I have always written in college. Even if there was a test coming up and it was an essay test, I could pass it, even if I didn't know the subject matter all that well. I can blather on for a long time on paper.
On paper. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I learned some of that tricks of the trade too, of writing where you can take a question and reword it to be the answer that you know. I actually learned
Oh,
that in
don't give
college.
away our secrets.
So, what took you into mysteries?
Oh, I think I've always loved mysteries, and in because I've always just been such a curious person. And in for 10 years, I was also a part-time private investigator. So that all fit together well while I was doing that while writing a lot of my books too. So, and I've
Yeah,
always just been a voracious reader, and mysteries are usually my favorite. Mysteries and true life adventures, like skiing across Antarctica or something like that.
I gotta admit, I've read quite a few of those too.
Mhm.
And I've done a lot of that kind of thing too. So that catches my interest. And you do too. I know you're an outdoor person. In
Yeah.
fact, I think you were snowshoeing yesterday or the day before.
Yeah. 2 days ago. Yeah. Yep.
It's been a long time since I've been snowshoeing, but been there, done that. Yeah. So now your Sam Weston series, now that's a unique kind of mystery set. Well, so is the Neema Mysteries. But it has to do with being an outdoorsy person kind of mystery.
Mhm.
Want to give us some history on that?
Well, I have always loved the outdoors. I was born in Kansas, but I as soon as I could, I moved to the Pacific Northwest because I love the mountains. I love to hike and snowshoe and kayak too. So this is the perfect place to be for me. And I have always hiked and kayaked and just loved everything having to do with nature and animals and just being in the outdoors.
How would you describe the Sam Weston series?
Sam is pretty much Pam. But a lot of people take that to an extreme and say, oh, I just can't believe you did that. Like dangling over a waterfall about to drop, which is a scene from my first Sam Weston book. And I'm like, yeah, Sam's younger and more adventurous than I am, but I have done a lot of the things in the Sam Weston series. So, like I said, it's the easiest one for me to write and the most fun, frankly, too, because I can imagine myself doing things if I haven't actually done them.
But then you go to your Neema Mysteries, and that is a unique one all by itself.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
My Neema Mysteries feature signing gorillas, which people usually go, what? Gorillas that have been taught sign language. Most people are familiar with Coco, who has
Mhm.
passed away now, but she was by far the most famous. I didn't really intend for it to become a series. The first book in the series, The Only Witness, excuse me, I wrote because at the time I was working as a private investigator, and I had been working on cases where small children are used as witnesses. And so I was doing a lot of thinking about who makes a credible witness. So Neema, the gorilla, doesn't have the vocabulary, and she doesn't think in a way to say, you know what I saw in the parking lot yesterday. She doesn't think about things like
No.
that. She thinks about a tattoo that she saw that was of a snake, because she's terrified of snakes, like most apes are just somehow born with that fear. And she thinks about a baby crying because she witnessed a baby's kidnapping. So it takes quite a while for everybody to put it together, like, oh my God.
Sure.
I had a lot of fun writing that one. And then that one quickly became my bestseller. And I thought, well, shoot, now I got to write sequels.
Sure.
So it was a big challenge to do that book. So I thought, instead of writing 2 books, one for each series, I will try to write a crossover novel that hopefully will please people in both series and maybe introduce the readers of only one series to the other series. I don't know where to hold this exactly.
Yep, if only.
Okay. If only, well, it'll be out January 17th, finally. So
wow, that's just right around the corner.
I know. I've been working on it forever, though.
I know what you mean. I've slowed down in my last book. It's getting close. It's getting close. But now you've got another, the Run for Your Life trilogy. How did you get into that one?
I have always been fascinated too by young athletes, or just athletes that do extreme things, and particularly these extreme races all around the world, multi-day races.
Mm-hmm.
The one that impresses me the most is one in Patagonia. I think it's called the Patagonia Challenge. And it is a team challenge, but the teams have to climb mountains and paddle across streams and do just extreme things under extreme conditions, and compete in this race. And I know there are others around the world too, in deserts and all kinds of places. And I'm not that kind of athlete, but I greatly admire, and I'm fascinated by people that are. So I came up with this idea of a young champion runner who competes in these races. And she's just 17 in the first book, like kind of like Katniss in the Hunger Games. But there's a twist, because she is living under a false identity, because her parents and brother were, well, her parents were killed and her brother disappeared. And the killers were never found or never identified. So she doesn't want them to know where she is and who she is. And then in the first book, which is called what the heck is
Race with Danger?
Race with Danger, thank you. That is set on a mythical island that was used for many things, a private game reserve, and military used it for all kinds of bombing practice and different things like that. And so it's a really dangerous island, and this race is across this island, and it's a volcanic island too. So there is a snow-covered volcano in it. And she's paired with the newly outed illegitimate son of the President of the United States. So the cameras are definitely on them at all times, which of course is the last thing she wants. And they're competing in this major race, and she has to win the $1 million prize to save the life of her friend Bailey. And you don't find out who Bailey is till the end of the story.
That's cool stuff. Cool stuff. I mean, that's like kind of books I read. And that's a trilogy. Race
had
with
great.
Danger, Race to Truth, and Race for Justice.
Yeah, it is a trilogy and it's a real trilogy in that everything is wrapped up in the last book. So she competes in a different race in every book, but the conclusion of the mystery of her parents killing, that kind of thing, is not resolved until the final book.
And you have great reviews all the way through, and a lot of them, which means that you do a great job.
Thank you.
So you already told us what you got next coming up. That's almost done, or in fact, we'll be here.
Yeah.
And but what have you found in your writing? I guess your writing history that has been one of your favorite tools to use. Do you have a method or a tool itself?
That's a good question. I don't really. I'm a terribly undisciplined writer. When I am in the mood, and I have the scenes in my head and everything, I can sit down and I can write for days at a time. I was trained in screenwriting too, so if I have a scene in my head, I will sit down and I will write that scene, even though I haven't written the material that leads up to it yet.
I like that.
So when I sit down to write a book, I know the beginning, I know the ending, I know the high point of the story, but I don't have a clue how I'm going to get from one place to the other when I begin.
So somewhere between a pantser and a blotter,
Yeah.
which is just writing it off the cuff as you go, or having it all written out and know exactly what's happening before you start writing.
So what I do, I make an outline after I finished the rough draft. And that helps me see, did I give certain characters too much screen time? Did I leave the thread of a clue back somewhere in chapter 3 when I need people to remember it in chapter 20 and things like that?
I
So
like
a
that
lot of.
method. And Author in the Headlights is for readers and writers. And for those of you out there that are striving to get your stuff done, there is no right way and no wrong way. There's many ways to do it. And we talk to many authors that have different methods, and yet they all produce books. So don't give up if you're out there working and you got a tough spot. Listen to these and pick up those tidbits from authors that are there and have done and are doing, and just work it into your system.
I have a lot of fun with it. It's on the times that I was complaining about the difficulties of being an author or something. My mother often said, well, you can just quit writing, and then I think about it and I think, I don't know who I am if I'm not a writer.
Oh, that's great. We've had a great time talking, and this will be a great send off for your new book too when it comes out there.
Yeah,
We'll be sure to link that in here. And
thank
all
you.
your books are available through germanpublishing.com's bookstore page. You can go there and find them and link into them, and they just take you to wherever they're sold.
Thank you so much, Strider.
You bet. And also, I'd like to say that there were some technical glitches in this. The screen froze several times. Thank you for listening all the way on through, for those of you out there. And thank you for being with us. And until next time. Sponsored by Durham Publishing.